No, it is not looking good for DaBaby, let me tell you that. I'm gonna assume everyone who's watching this has at least heard about this entire DaBaby situation. I made a video on it the other day. This entire thing has been a very much trending topic for the last week or so. I mean, everybody is talking about this. DaBaby, of course, said something on stage while he was performing that led to the internet canceling him, and things have escalated further than that. So far, he's lost out on quite a few bags, got dropped from multiple festivals. On top of that, more artists have publicly spoken out against DaBaby, so there's a thing or two to talk about here. But yeah, grab some snacks, get the food ready, and let's talk about it. Now, just in case you don't know what's been going on with DaBaby, let me give you a very quick rundown of the entire situation. So DaBaby was performing at Rolling Loud the other day. Actually, I think it was about a week ago now. Anyway, at one point during his performance, he said this.
You didn't show up today with HIV, AIDS, any of them deadly sexually transmitted diseases that'll make you die in 2-3 weeks. Put a cell phone lighting it up. Lady, if your pussy smell like water, put a cell phone lighting it up. Fellas, lights up. Fellas, if you ain't sucking nigga dick in the parking lot, put your cell phone lights up.
Here's a transcript of what exactly he said. Look at the screen right now, unless you're driving. Anyway, the internet, Twitter, social media in general jumped on his fast, and DaBaby was getting slammed for his comments. It got to the point where Dua Lipa, one of the biggest pop stars in the world at the moment, who's collabed with DaBaby in the past on a song called Levitating, denounced him. She put up an Instagram story saying how she was surprised and horrified at his comments. I don't recognize this as the person I work with on that song. I stand with the LGBT community, etc. This obviously added more fuel to the fire since Dua Lipa is a highly mainstream artist with an extremely big platform. I mean, she has damn near 70 million followers on Instagram, so go figure. Like I said though, this entire thing went viral, especially on Twitter. DaBaby was getting slammed from all directions. That of course led to DaBaby, allegedly at least, getting cancelled. And here we are today. Anyway, there you have a very quick rundown of the entire situation. Continuing. I just want to start this conversation with one little subtopic and elaborate my thoughts on my issue with DaBaby's comments. Personally, what I didn't like about what DaBaby said is the HIV comment. I thought that was not only inappropriate to bring up because, like I said in my last video, yes, a lot of these people might be your fans, but you don't know whether or not they actually have this disease. And by bringing it up out of nowhere, you're putting the audience at dis-ease. I swear that wasn't on purpose. And that call to action might have put anyone who has it in a weird spot. Might have made them uncomfortable because they showed up to this festival to have a good time and not necessarily to have something like this pushed right in their face. On top of that, DaBaby was using his platform to spread misinformation about a disease that's affected millions and is affecting millions of people all around the world. I'm saying that because it goes without saying, but I'm still gonna say it. But someone having it doesn't mean they won't be alive in 2 to 3 weeks. Obviously. That might be obvious to you or to me, but clearly it wasn't obvious to DaBaby, that's why he said it. Personally, I just don't think this is something that comes out of anyone's mouth unless they 100% believe it. So that's very ignorant on DaBaby's part, because like any other mainstream rapper, artist, he has a lot of people who blindly follow anything and everything he says. So that's my issue with what DaBaby said. It just wasn't appropriate to bring that up in a situation like that at all. People are there to have a good time, man, which I'm not saying they didn't. Rolling Loud looked pretty lit. But some things just shouldn't be said in a situation like that. And to be fair, I don't think there's ever a time to use that as a way to interact with your audience. Let's just leave it at that. Now, moving on, DaBaby has lost DaBag. Big time, we gotta talk about that. Like I said in my first video about this, there will be consequences, as in DaBaby's bag will be affected somehow, no question. So far, he's been dropped from not only multiple festivals, but he's also lost out on one major partnership that we know of, so let's talk about that. As a result of DaBaby's comments, a clothing company from the UK called Boohoo Man cut ties with DaBaby. They put up this on their official Twitter page and said, Boohoo Man, that's a funny name by the way, condemned the use of homophobic language and confirm we will no longer be working with DaBaby. Diversity and inclusion are part of the Boohoo Group's DNA, and we pride ourselves on representing the diverse customers we serve across the globe. So DaBaby actually had a limited edition collaboration collection with Boohoo Man. It was a summer collection that released over a month ago on June 30th to be specific. Apparently it was their biggest collaboration to date according to Billboard, and DaBaby himself was pretty excited about this little partnership. I love me some mutually beneficial partnerships, he told Billboard. It's always a blessing, so them wanting to work with me made things pretty easy. Them giving me the opportunity and creative input on the designs and what was going on with everything, that definitely made it a silky smooth collaboration. Fast forward to today though, as a result of his comments, the partnership is no more. On top of that, DaBaby has, as of right now, been dropped from 6 different festivals. Yes, you heard that right. 6. By the way, technically it's actually 7, but you'll know why in just a second, why I'm personally not counting the first one. Anyway, the first festival DaBaby has been dropped from is Parklife Festival. Now, DaBaby was supposed to perform at Parklife Festival, which is going down in the UK, Manchester. I think it was in September. He was on the original festival poster, as you can see on a screen right here, and on the updated version, his name is nowhere to be seen. The updated one came right after what he said, putting 2 and 2 together, and we're all gonna assume that his comments led to him being dropped. However, according to someone from DaBaby's camp though, he actually pulled out of it months ago, and the festival poster with his name on it was a mistake made by the festival. That's what DaBaby's people said. However, I haven't seen the festival giving a statement on this. They just updated the poster and quietly removed DaBaby from the lineup and left it at that. I still think what he said had everything to do with him not performing there, and I don't think the festival made a mistake. However, I guess there is reasonable doubt here since his team said otherwise and the festival didn't counter what DaBaby's camp said, despite what I think. And just to be precise though, I'm not gonna count this one, but I'll let you make up your mind about it. Now, let's talk about all the festivals he's been dropped from as a result of what he said though. Number 1, the first festival he got dropped from, Lollapalooza. That is a big one. They put up this tweet on their official Twitter page the other day and said, Lollapalooza was founded on diversity, inclusivity, respect, and love. With that in mind, DaBaby will no longer be performing at Grand Park tonight. The second festival he got dropped from, Governor's Ball. They released a statement on their Twitter page and posted an updated list of everyone who was performing at the festival, and DaBaby was removed from that list. This is what their statement said though. Founders Entertainment does not and will not tolerate hate or discrimination of any kind. We welcome and celebrate the diverse communities that make New York City the greatest city in the world. Thank you to the fans who continue to speak up for what is right. Along with you, we will continue to use our platform for good. The third festival he got dropped from, Day in Vegas. They put up a post on their Instagram with an updated list of the performing acts. DaBaby was of course removed from that list. This is what they said on their caption though. DaBaby will no longer be appearing at Day in Vegas 2021. Roddy Ricch has been added to the lineup. Y'all replaced DaBaby with me? What can I say? I'm flattered. Festival number 4, Austin City Limits Music Festival, which is obviously being held in Austin. They dropped DaBaby from their lineup too. This is what their statement that they dropped on Twitter said. DaBaby will no longer be performing at Austin City Limits Music Festival. Lineup update coming soon. Festival number 5, he got dropped from Music Midtown Festival. They said this on their official Instagram page. DaBaby will no longer be performing at Midtown Music Festival. Lineup update coming soon. Festival number 6, DaBaby got dropped from iHeartRadio Fest. They made an official statement to Rolling Stone by saying DaBaby will no longer be performing at the iHeartRadio Music Festival daytime stage. Now, that is a total of 7 festivals, minus the one in Manchester, because there is reasonable doubt as to if he actually pulled out of it before, like his team was claiming. They could have obviously said it as a way to save face, who knows. But regardless of that, DaBaby has been dropped from 6 festivals in the last week as a result of what he said. What did 21 Savage say? Yeah, that is a lot. Now, we also gotta have this conversation. That is a must. And that conversation is DaBaby cancelled? Like I showed you in this video, DaBaby has lost out on one lucrative partnership opportunity. On top of that, he's been dropped from 6 major, we're talking big festivals in the span of a week. That is no joke. My take on this though, no. Despite all this, I don't think DaBaby is cancelled. I say this for 2 reasons. The first reason being a personal one, and I said this in my last video about this, but I don't like cancel culture. I don't support it, and I don't partake in the cancel culture parade. Never been a fan of it. I think cancel culture is, to be quite frank, is a witch hunt. And on top of that, cancel culture has proven itself to be kind of pointless. It doesn't really work. People cancel someone and prayed against them for a week, and then the next week they forget about it, and then find someone else and repeat. And then also, on top of that, the concept of canceling someone is very off-putting to me, so I personally have a very strong opinion against cancel culture. And another thing I want to add is cancel culture isn't really a necessary thing. And the reason why I say that is because people have been getting getting held accountable for their actions way before the internet was even a thing. So cancel culture is this very unnecessary weapon the internet has birthed, and this weapon gets used against people that the internet doesn't really agree with. And when I say that, I'm not talking about what DaBaby said, because again, I've made it clear, I think what DaBaby said was stupid. However, I do think a lot of us can't recognize that cancel culture as a strategy isn't really a productive way to hold other people accountable for their actions or things they may say. Another thing about cancel culture and why it's problematic, by the way, I might even make an entire video on this, but hear me out. Cancel culture doesn't really have different levels of canceling, so it's very black and white. Person number A can get the same exact canceling treatment as person number B, even though person number A isn't really deserving of getting canceled as much as person number B. So cancel culture as a whole is not only one-sided, but it's also a very unbalanced and inconsistent way to hold people accountable who may deserve it or not deserve it. It doesn't matter, right? Because at the end of the day, everybody gets the same exact treatment. Anyway, my little rant on cancel culture aside, the second reason why I don't think DaBaby is canceled, DaBaby is way too big to get canceled. A lot of people don't realize what actually happens when someone, in this case an artist, becomes mainstream. They're not gonna go away because a bunch of people on Twitter parade against them. It just doesn't work like that. It's gonna take way more than this for DaBaby to get knocked off his pedestal. And in this situation, it's not just Twitter parading against DaBaby though, right? I mean, what he said in the span of a week has had some major real life repercussions. It's literally affecting his money now. The most popular festivals dropping you from their lineup is no joke. With that being said, let's keep in mind that these festivals are not doing this because they care so much. These festivals are doing this because they see that the public, okay, we care so much. And if the public cares and the public is trying to cancel DaBaby and they don't follow suit, they're gonna lose out on their dinero. At the end of the day, this is a PR stunt. They gotta eat too. Let's not kid ourselves. All it took was one of them to set this entire thing in motion by dropping DaBaby from their lineup, and that spiraled into the next festival doing the same thing, and the next one, and the next one, and there goes the domino effect. And that's not me trying to bash the festivals. At the end of the day, they're just trying to, conduct business. They're looking out for their pockets like they should. But I just want you to understand what's going on both sides. There's a lot of brands and companies watching this entire thing go down, and as a result of DaBaby getting dropped from all these festivals, yes, that's definitely gonna stop him from getting to a lot of potential bags he would have otherwise gotten to. However, how long is this gonna last? People are eventually gonna move on and not really care about DaBaby's comments a couple weeks from now. Let's keep it real. Tomorrow, there's probably gonna be another influential personality, celebrity, whatever, who does something to piss off the public, and they're gonna be the new target, and the public moves on from DaBaby. Now, let's talk about the fact that DaBaby finally apologized though. Let's go over his apology. He posted the apology on his Instagram and said, "Social media moves so fast that people want to demolish you before you even have the opportunity to grow, educate, and learn from your mistakes. As a man who has had to make his own way from very difficult circumstances, having people I know publicly working against me, knowing that what I needed was education on these topics and guidance, I appreciate the many people who came to me with kindness, who reached out to me privately to offer wisdom, education, and resources. That's what I needed, and it was received." He continued and said, "I want to apologize to the LGBT community for the hurtful and triggering comments I made. Again, I apologize for my misinformed comments about HIV and AIDS, and I know education on this is important. Love to all. God bless." So there you have it. DaBaby apologized, but people are still on his ass. Not surprised about that at all. If I was on DaBaby's PR team, which I believe he might have not even had one until this apology, keeping it real. If I was a part of the team though, it would have never gotten to this point. This apology is presumably a thing because his money is being affected. And for the record, I have no issues with that, by the way. DaBaby is a businessman at the end of the day. However, I think him doubling down, actually tripling down on his comments was a big problem. It showed me that DaBaby has a problem with putting his pride aside and taking accountability when he's the one out here who's spreading misinformation about a disease that affects millions of people. Not only did he triple down on his comments, but he took a very unnecessary shot at the LGBT community on that tweet he put up. And regarding that, let's not forget, they were the ones who were making all the noise to begin with. So he purposely ridiculed the community to quote-unquote stand up to the bullies. In the end though, he couldn't keep that same energy to the end, and he's the person to blame for that because again, a lot of this was preventable. And when I say that, I'm talking about the aftermath. All this DaBaby said after the fact is what got him here. No matter if he's actually changed his mind and is now educated like he said, and this apology is genuine, at the end of the day, he apologized. I'm not sure what more there is to do, honestly. Even though this can't really happen, I don't think DaBaby's platform should be taken away like a lot of people seem to think. At the end of the day, 99% of the people who are trying to cancel him weren't really fans of him to begin with, so they can't really take away his platform anyway if they didn't make him. Now, apart from that one partnership he lost out on, all the festivals he got dropped from, his apology, there's been a couple of artists who've came out and called out DaBaby for what he said. One of those artists is, of all people, Madonna. She put up a lengthy Instagram post aimed at DaBaby, which I am not gonna read all that, but I'll read some of it. Let me just skip to this part right here when she said, "People like you are the reason why we're still living in a world divided by fear." Definitely think she's overreacting on that part. All human beings should be treated with dignity and respect, regardless of race, gender, sexual preference, or religious beliefs. Amen at DaBaby. Obviously, I agree with that part, but the other part about the fear, nah, come on now. Anyway, Madonna's PR team are clearly trying to ether DaBaby, man. Moving on to another artist who called out DaBaby, Elton John. Of all people, Elton John? They're trying to get DaBaby out of here, man. Anyway, he put up a couple tweets. One of them said, "We've been shocked to read about the misinformation and homophobic statements made at a recent DaBaby show. This fuels stigma and discrimination and is the opposite of what our world needs to fight an epidemic." He put up a couple other tweets that I'm not gonna go over, but let's just say that Elton came with the receipts. Moving on to another artist who called out DaBaby, Demi Lovato. Comethazine has entered the chat. She put up an Instagram story with the caption, I guess quoting someone else, "Hot people listen to the original version of Levitating." I guess I'm not hot because I actually do like that DaBaby verse on Levitating. I'm just saying. Also, Breezy gave his 2 cents on Instagram by saying, "Shut the F up, do your shows, thank everybody, then get the F off stage." Chris didn't say any names, but I think it's pretty obvious that he's referring to DaBaby. Like Chris Brown said though, do what you gotta do, perform, thank the people, and get off the stage. That's it. Doing all this extra stuff, saying a bunch of things that could be misconstrued, that's never a good move. I think DaBaby just said too much unnecessary shit. He didn't need to say what he said, that's number one. Number two, it didn't even make sense for him to say what he said on that stage. My issue with what he said, like I said earlier, it's the misinformation aspect of it. Because DaBaby's comments were ignorant, no denying that. However, I don't think he should be cancelled. I don't think his platform should be taken away like a lot of people think. And no, DaBaby is not the reason why we're all living in a world divided by fear, like Madonna said. With that being said, I do think DaBaby handled the aftermath of this entire thing very poorly from a PR standpoint. Not only did he deflect multiple times on his responses to this entire thing, I get the whole concept of not letting yourself be bullied by the Twitter mob, but DaBaby himself even said it on one of his initial tweets. Anyone who's been affected by this disease, y'all got the right to be upset. What I said was insensitive, even though I had no intentions on offending anybody, so my apologies. So he kind of already did apologize there, and had he left it at that, this thing would have blown over in a day or two, guaranteed. However, I think that last part regarding the LGBT community was kinda unnecessary. That's one major gas tank that fueled the fire that was already lit. He of course did put up a bunch of other things on Twitter as a response to the backlash, and again, I think they were all unnecessary. And like I said, I get the whole thing about you don't want to be bullied by the Twitter mob, but at the end of the day, you made some left field comments. You yourself acknowledged that. One tweet, one response of you taking accountability for it would have been enough. This is me assuming that DaBaby wanted this whole thing to blow over fast and not really kind of linger in the whole backlash, right? But part of me believes that he actually didn't want it to blow over fast. He probably thought that he could get out of this thing completely intact, and at the end of the day, he paid the price for that. Even if it's not looking good for DaBaby at this very moment, let's just say that the storm is gonna pass and he's still gonna keep on doing his thing a few weeks from now. Believe that. But yeah, it ain't looking too good for DaBaby at this very moment, man. But anyway, enough of what I have to say. Do you have any thoughts on this entire DaBaby situation? Any thoughts on how this entire thing played out? Definitely let me know in the comment section below and subscribe about this.